the amazing Twitch chat mod, as well as an awesome caster. It is, of course, Soldra. What's going on, man?
I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for the kind words of welcome, Pyrotechnics. My name is Huba Soldier Shim, and I'm proud to say that I'm your color caster today. It might be my last cast, it might not be. Who knows, but I'm very excited for some action, especially in our second set. But we are not ones to forget that Starhorn Royal Club is playing Young Glory today, and that will be the first set of the night.
Absolutely. Starhorn Royal Club, a team that kind of had a little bit of back and forth last night. They ended up going 1-1 against LGD, a team that is significantly further down the standings than they are. Of course, that second set you mentioned, also going to be a pretty exciting one. We'll get to that in just a minute because Young Glory, also a team not looking so hot. They got 2-0'd by their sister team, Invictus Gaming, last evening, and they're sitting way at the bottom of the standings, just 1 point ahead of World Elite Academy. Second game, of course. Well, we'll talk about that. We got a lot.
Right. I mean, despite those scores, though, I think I've seen a lot of good things from Young Glory. I think the main issue they have right now, besides some of their shot calling problems, which I think most Chinese teams do seem to possess, I think that their main issue is that they have very limited champion pools, and you often see teams. That are like, even if teams haven't been able to manipulate the pick and ban phase that well. For example, teams like Invictus Gaming that aren't very good at during the draft phase of League of Legends, they've been able to manipulate players like Diangun, for example. I know that a lot of professional players really hate to blind pick a Yasuo into a mid lane matchup, but then Diangun, who is so desperate to look for a mid laner to carry on, first picked that Yasuo, and you saw Kid responding with the Z pick, and Tatai responding with the Z pick, and Tatai completely crushed him in lane. So really, you have to wonder whether whether Young Glory can actually start competing not only in this split but beyond the split as well, especially since there are more teams coming in. Those issues in the champion pool will really get exposed if they don't fix those problems quickly.
Absolutely. Not the only weakness on this team, but we'll go over that in a minute because they're talking about the players on Starhorn Royal Club. You just saw Cola in the top lane. He's been rocking Gragas lately. Also plays himself a mean Jax pick. And there is the man himself. It is Insec, who has rocked a number of insects, from scorpions to spiders to whatever the hell Kha'Zix is. I think he's from the Void. He's some kind of bug. Crosshopper, maybe. And then in the mid lane, of course, for Starhorn Royal Club. Oh, boy. I'm getting pretty thin with the jokes. But we got Korn.
It's early.
He has been, it's early for some of us at the very least. He has been a pretty staple instrument in this team, but more so in a significant laning phase as well as... Go ahead.
Yeah, and I've been very I talk in Twitch chat a lot, so a lot of people know, I've been very low on the, not even just the decision making, but just the mere talent level. We often say that the LPL is a league, across all 8 teams in the LPL, that the League of Legends Professional League in China is not, if anything, bereft of talent. But really, I think that Starhorn Royal Club has a lot more options than Korn in the middle lane and Cold in the top lane. I mean, I think that their solo laners are really inhibiting them from trying to reach the very top of the LPL stage, because in order to reach the top, to reach the throne of Chinese League of Legends, which is currently possessed by teams like EDG, OMG, one could even make an argument for World Elite, right? You have to have the correct, you have to have a high standard of mechanical ability. And I just don't see Korn and Cola having that. Korn especially. This guy can only play Yasuo and Orianna to an LPL level, and he can't play anything else. His Ziggs is pretty terrible. His Lulu is awful. So, I mean, you're at the point where you're saying, we're 6 weeks into the LPL. This Starhorn Royal Club team is supposed to be, was supposed to ascend to the heavens of Chinese League of Legends, yet they're, mired in 4th place. They're splitting. Even though I think LGD is a very talented team, they're splitting games with LGD, which shouldn't happen, especially if they want to get to the very top and make the Season 4 World Championships. So I think that, especially with these solo laners, the window of opportunity is closing very quickly for Starhorn Royal Club, because a lot of the other top teams are starting to figure them out. And now you're seeing Starhorn Royal Club struggle struggle against teams like LGD, some of the bottom tier teams. I wouldn't be surprised at all if SHRC actually struggled in their set today against YG. I think it will be closer than a lot of people might think.
I think the LPL in general is a little bit closer than some might think, even though they couldn't take a game off their sister team earlier, and you're seeing YG on the screen right now. They're just cycling through the last of it, number 1 there in the top lane. They did manage to do one game over on OMG, which is huge, absolutely huge. So they're not exactly completely down and out. They have a couple wins to their name, been able to string together a few, and they are a team that you can't entirely underestimate. Diangoon, we mentioned he has a very, very strong Yasuo pick, doesn't have the deepest champion pools. However, he has baited it out. When he played Riven against OMG, they actually took that win as they forced Cool onto the Yasuo pick.
Right, and I mean, so obviously this is a good sign for League of Legends, you know, just people trying to bait out picks, you know, run with counter picks, and sometimes those counter picks don't work. I think, you know, Wayless from LGD is a player who comes to mind who tries to bring out a lot of counter picks. But as we get into picks and bans here, it will be interesting to see what these Chinese players do decide to bring out today. I don't expect any surprises, especially since this is the last day that the Chinese professional teams will be playing on 4.10. As many of our listeners know, 4.11 will be coming out on Monday, so I'm very excited for that.
I was just going to say, this is going to be, one of the last 4.10 ones. And yeah, we talked a little in the pre-chat about how 4.11 might affect some of the changes here. I think so far they have been able to settle into the new patches despite all of the crazy ADC changes. A lot of the main ADCs in China a little less than affected by it just because some of them have certain preferences. Kale banned away, no surprises there for Starhorn.
Right, and I mean, the Jarvan also banned away. Young Glory does like the Jarvan too, especially since Diangoon's Orianna is not bad at all.
Yinfu,
the Lulu,
he plays a lot, actually, that Jarvan
yeah, he
pick.
does. Yinfu does play a lot of Jarvan. But, I mean, you know, the standard bans here, I really do want to talk, you know, I just want to say one more thing about the patch. I really think that 4.11 and 4.12 will herald the golden age of Chinese League of Legends in Season 4. I really think so. Because in 4.11 because 4.11 and 4.12, basically, you know, so a lot of the split pushing, some of the OP champions got, you know, nerfed, and a lot of the AD carries are really strong right now. So you're basically seeing picks and bans become extremely easy. Objectives becoming heavily prioritized in the early game because of the buff to Dragon Gold in the early game, and AD carries becoming, you know, becoming largely focused in these subsequent patches. So I really think that the Chinese players will have a lot of fun with 4.11, 4.12.
Oh, wow.
And you know,
look at these picks right now. They took Rengar away from Insec and prioritized the Kog'Maw pickup on Uzi, but that left the Skarner pick for Yinfu, and number 1 got to play Gragas again. So this is already looking like a pretty solid beginning game.
So first of all, I mean, UZI's Kog'Maw is really, really good. I don't think it's the best in China personally, but UZI is definitely, UZI is in the world. In fact, I mean, UZI is definitely up there as a player. Gragas, we might actually see the Ziggs pick out of Young Glory as well if Starhorn Royal Club decides not to pick up that champion, just because Najin White Shield is a team. When Najin White Shield played against the KT Arrows last week, or in the beginning of this week, they played on Wednesday, I believe. That, you know, that set in game 1, that they really exposed Kog'Maw's flaws and showed how you play against this Kog'Maw. Najin White Shield ran that composition with a Nocturne, and I don't think Skarner is a bad substitute, especially for how strong Skarner is in 4.10. Remember that Skarner did get nerfed in 4.11, but you know, on the other side of that, Starhorn Royal Club gets 2 really highly prioritized champions, you know, Insec on Lee Sin, Zero on Braum. These are the 2 playmakers of Starhorn Royal Club, so expect SHRC to have a lot of fun with this composition.
Yeah, we've already seen Braum rocking a pretty high win rate, and this is before some of his nerfs have come in as well. Cola might get to play Jax this time, but on the other side, Lucian was taken away by Shenlong, who frankly is not considered to be one of the stronger AD carries in the LPL. However, it's still a pretty key combination to try and work with, although they didn't really want it anyways because Kog'Maw was, you know, much more of a preferred thing. I'm still not sold on the Kog Braum lane, but they seem to favor it on the Starhorn side.
Right, and I mean, we do have to remember that Zhenlong and Yanxir do have a lot of experience in this Lucian Leona lane. I mean, that's a really popular lane for these two players. And I mean, we talk about how Zhenlong might even be, out of 8 AD carries in the LPL, he might be the 8th best, right? But at the same time,
Still top 8.
right? I mean, and at the same, well, maybe not even top 8 in China, but
Whoa.
at the same time, when you're a Chinese AD carry and you get to play that Obama, then things are looking really well for you. And this
that is what they call him.
yeah, and I was about to say,
this is his pickup right now. Moving on,
hopefully this is his
Dangoon.
pickup.
Wow. Okay, so this is.
He was about to
shaping up
pick
be
the
a
Yasuo.
Yeah, and that
which
would
was
have been
bad.
his favorite thing. However, last minute switch up to deal with Orianna a little bit better, and I like this too. I like
Yeah.
this from the side of Young Glory. They have a nice combination.
I mean, Yasuo does not do well against Orianna, first of all. And Korn, and Orianna is one of Korn's better champions, as I mentioned before. I personally think that Korn's Orianna and Yasuo are the champions that stand out when he plays them. And, again, we have this YG composition that has a lot of answers to Starhorn Royal Clubs. You basically have the Gragas that can bully the Jax in the early lane, even though Jax doesn't do that too badly in that matchup. And this is really about whether Young Glory can get to level 6 and then group very early. And for that reason, you might see early 2v1s, but, early 2v1s, especially since I do think that a Kog'Maw Braum lane in the hands of UZI and Zero will win against Zhenlong and Yansir's Lucian and Leona lane. But so we might see 2v1s, but I think more than that, more than the individual matchups, Young Glory has a team composition where they really want to group early and use their composition to the fullest. I mean, all of these champions are extremely strong early. You want to contest dragons, you want to challenge that Kog'Maw early, you want to keep the Jax down. So I don't think that 2v1 lanes are a bad choice at all in this specific situation.
Might be what they want to go with on the side of Young Glory. However, the pick ban phase, I can't help but thinking that Starhorn World Club got everything they wanted in this. They even picked up Lee Sin for Insec at the very end. This is not just a really good pick for China. This is a champion that Insec pretty much was known for throughout his career in Korea. And to allow him onto that champion, to allow them to give Cola, to allow Cola to get onto Jax, which is another champion that's arguably his signature pick. Kog'Maw was prioritized. Korn is perfectly happy with an Orianna. They also allowed Braum. This is just scary composition from Starhorn, but we'll have to see how it works out for them as we're loading up onto Summoner's Rift for the first match of the night. It is once again Week 6, Day number 3, Starhorn Royal Club versus Young Glory in the LPL Summer.
Right, and I mean, I don't know whether we'll continue to see Jax picks after next Monday, just because of Jax's early base health nerfs, and especially since, as I mentioned before, all of these Chinese teams will want to be skirmishing in lane now, and running standard 1v1 lanes in the top, especially in the top lane. You might see, Renekton or Shyvana really come back and try to bite champions like Cola's Jax. Even the Gragas does well against the Jax. So YG setting up here, possibly looking out for an early invade.
Wait for early pack easy. They're daring them to come in.
Yeah,
and try and
they were moving around so they could put Yansir in the front of the pack just to lead the charge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a pretty good level 1. You got to give them that.
Yeah, it is a very good level 1.
Now, Starhorn just doesn't want any of this. They're going to try and play this one very, very standard as they know they can win just about every lane. Maybe the troubling thing is going to be Cola dealing with number 1's Gragas in the early game. However, he's completely okay to sit back and wait until he becomes a monster that Jax will after about the 30-minute mark. Very item dependent. You can tell he's going for the sustained game, starting with the Crystalline Flask. And Starhorn is just going to be like, no, you have to come to us if you want anything to happen here.
I mean, that really kind of shows the balance of this game right now. Young Glory is the team that has to make the plays, because when you do have the Orianna, when you do have UZI on Kog'Maw, when you have Zero on Braum, when you have Cola, and Cola's Jax isn't that bad at all. I was putting Cola on blast before, but he, like many other Chinese, albeit like many other Chinese top laners, does do very well on the Jax pick, especially when allowed to get ahead. So, Starhorn Royal Club, the members of Starhorn Royal Club know that they can just sit and wait to outscale the members of Young Glory, and that's fine, because Starhorn Royal Club has played this style many times before. So it really is up to the YG to try to, move around the map, to try to contest the early dragons, to try to put as much pressure as they can on the members of SHRC, and, find some kind of advantage before they snowball out for a win.
So far, though, they're going to be completely okay to play the waiting and farming game. Uzi getting protected very well by Zero. Braum is extremely good at allowing the disengage, as we've seen, especially recently on matches when he's been allowed through the pick ban phase. Gotta be careful. Shenlong taking a bit of Q poke out of that Braum. Uzi I would be surprised if he starts to get a monumental lead in farm down in this. The 2v2 greatly favors Starhorn. So where does Yinfu focus? It looks like right now he's setting up for a lane gank in this lane.
Yeah, Yinfu really, I mean, he wants to get this bottom lane going. And I think Uzi and Zero are fairly vulnerable to tilt. I mean, I think every member of this Starhorn Road Club team is pretty vulnerable to tilt, as they've shown in the past, because one of the problems with this SHRC club, and we see every lane trading damage around, but one of the consistent problems of this SHRC club is that they seem to almost lose hope when they're behind. And if you're a top team and you really want to be able to keep a level head, even if you're behind a few thousand gold in the early game, but I mean, when SHRC gets behind within the first 20 minutes, it really spells curtains for them. So hopefully, Zero, members like Insect roaming around the map, hopefully they can keep Starhorn Road Club relatively healthy in the first few minutes of this game.
Oh, Insect's going to find Yinfu here, and he actually wants to go on to this one. Skarner not wanting any of that, trying to kite away as much as he can, but those double busts looking tasty. Insect will not be able to secure him. However, big red flags flying left and right up in that top side is number one, and Cola prepare for a gank. That's never going to happen. It looks like Yinfu's going to back away, but Insect's not done yet. He's eyeing that mid lane, and he wants himself some first blood. It's actually very late for a first blood right now. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Zero and Yancer trading poke out. The Ignite comes down. However, that is still a very tanky Leona. Insect's not really sure where he wants to go. Now he's heading back up towards the top, but he's going to run right into a ward. Number one tipped off immediately, and he should get back to safety, should he need to.
I mean, just because of the fact that the bottom lane is even right now, and both of the solo laners from the members from Young Glory have a lot of escape tools and mechanisms. Insect doesn't have a lot of room, doesn't have a lot of wiggle room right now, and doesn't have huge avenues to make plays, which is fine. I mean, Starhorn Road Club, again, they're a team that just needs to stay even until the 25 to 30 minute mark, and that's when they really can start trying to make plays. But right now, all they need to do is get Cola farmed, get UZI farmed, get Corn farmed, and they should be completely happy. They don't need a tilt. They don't. Damn, they're skirmishing.
Yeah, he's trying to bait this one out, actually. He says, hey, number one, you can totally take me down, right? So Insect coming around the side. Now, stun's going to come off. Whoa! Nice flash away. Number one barely avoids the Sonic Wave. And, yeah, that was going to be a big success, though, for Starhorn, just because they managed to take that one off. So even though Insect didn't manage to secure the first blood, I think they'll be okay with that one. It's a little more than Yinfu's been able to accomplish in lane. And he's also getting a little counter-jungled as well.
Right.
Meanwhile, bot side too.
Yeah.
Even though...
Sorry, I just had to restart my stream.
It's okay, no worries. Even though Uzi did leave lane before... Actually, excuse me, they both left lane. Surprising that he wasn't able to pick up the Vamp Scepter, instead only able to afford... well, excuse me, sorry, not a Vamp Scepter. What am I talking about? He couldn't afford the Phage, as he was not quite on that level of farm when he backed away. Lucian, however, was able to afford that Vamp Scepter, starting with the Bilgewater Cutlass first, actually. And there's been a little bit of debate, especially with 410 still, Lucian, as to what is a better build. Do you go for the Cutlass first? And I think this might work pretty well against Uzi's Kog'Maw. Although they're going for the engage now. Zero trying to dive onto Yancer. Half his health is gone. That's still a significant portion, even though Leon is able to tank through most of it. Here comes Insect now around the side. Reveals himself through the ward. And they're staying very safe on this Young Glory side.
Yeah, the Winter's Bite from Zero actually missed, so there's not a huge point in trying to go in for that one.
Oh,
but they now do have...
that was a bit of a face check, so he has to burn his flash to get away from Diangoon and Yinfu. Nicely done to turn that one around. And so far, so good for Young Glory. They have been able to stay extremely safe. This is going to be a very drawn-out game. I can only imagine when it gets to the late game, it certainly favors Starhorn, but Young Glory has a lot of time to make plays before that happens.
I mean, the thing is that just Young Glory has a lot of answers to the strengths of the members, the strength of the Starhorn Road Club lineup. And we do see the little invade right here. I wonder if they're going to get the red buff. Yeah, nice steal.
Yeah, that was really well done. They've been able to run train on Yinfu's jungle here. Now, Zero going around the side. However, ZI in a bad spot. Heal popped on the side of Young Glory as they chase down UZI. He is burning. He is flashing. And it looks like it's getting turned around.
Oh,
Zhenlong,
nice
the dragon, has
Zero.
no help. He's almost going to go down. The Spittle's coming in. And that was a nice disengage. Yancer turning it around. But they get a 1-for-1, trading AD carries. And the supports have to walk it out. That was a brilliant maneuver, and nobody comes out ahead. First Blood does, however, go slightly in favor. I believe it was Starhorn that actually picked that one up.
Yeah, it was UZI who actually picked it up.
Microsecond.
So, really, really nice play from Zero. He actually, I'm pretty sure Unbreakable ate up a lot of damage right there. So nice play. In addition to that, the wave is completely pushing in Starhorn's favor, so Yancer is going to have to stay and collect that. A lot of that experience won't go to his AD carry. So, I mean, the members of Starhorn Road Club, Uzi, UZI, and Zero feeling really good about themselves in the bottom lane right now. And as I was mentioning before, though, even though Starhorn Road Club does have the composition that quote-unquote scales later into the game, especially when Colo is able to start split pushing for himself, YG does have a lot of answers, especially in team fights, because in team fights you're going to see Yinfu on his Skarner, even if only momentarily after UZI picks up his after UZI picks up his cleanse skill, his Quicksilver Sash, right? He is going to be able to impale the Kog'Maw even if only just for a second, but that second will be enough for the mid laner and top laner of YG, number 1 and Tiangun respectively, to put out a lot of damage with that explosive cask, with that Mega Inferno Bomb onto the backline. And that's why champions like Gragas, Nocturne's very popular too, Ziggs, and then Ezreal, champions with global-esque ults are very popular against Kog'Maw, because there's...
Yancer gets jumped in. Insect now. There's a Solar Flare. Yancer nicely trying to disengage this one. Yancer's solo, and they see him through the bushes. Now there's Yinfu coming around the side. It's going to be the Living Artillery popping him down. UZI will grab himself another kill, but Zhenlong disengages. This bot lane has actually played far better than I expected it to, trading evenly in most circumstances. That situation, they just found themselves a little bit out of position, and Insect barely having an impact, actually. I mean, that helped, but I think they would have gotten it without him.
Yeah, and I mean, even though Zero only landed his Unbreakable Fissure onto... I have actually no idea what that skill is called. His Fissure, his ultimate onto one member of the Young Glory bottom lane, onto Yancer on Leona.
That's what I like to call it.
the mustache knockup. But they were still able to pick up the kill. Really nice attack moving coming out from UZI. Just a nice job in general. And Starhorn Road Club is able to pick up another advantage. Albeit, it's only a 700 gold advantage, not the biggest steal in the world. But still, anything you can pick up with this composition is a huge win right now.
Yeah, and also this opens up the dragon very quickly, but Insect didn't want to try and take that one with Yancer coming back to lane as quickly as he did. Zhenlong also back there, and UZI has a whole lot of farm to happily snap up, but Insect greatly favoring this bot side, especially in this jungle, trying to get a little invade off of Yinfu around the side. Might be able to catch him, but White's looking nice and tasty. He's got
and
with him too.
I was going to mention this before, but just a note for the viewers who didn't know that IEM was on, Word Elite just did take the first game in a best-of-3 series against Edward Gaming, so congratulations to them.
Yeah, Soldier better than Twitter updates.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just a Renaissance man.
Here we go, though. Korn getting jumped on. Yancer actually able to beat a hasty disengage out the backside. There's a Gragas barrel explosion on everybody. Cola, this is a chaotic fight, and Insect's going to go down. Zhenlong staying alive, and Korn and Insect. Yeah, that was a little sloppy from the side of Starhorn, but they do secure the dragon, losing 2 for it.
Okay. What a critical moment for YG to go in. They needed to make a power play right there, especially since they knew that the members of Starhorn Road Club were weaker in the early game, yet SHRC was displaying all this confidence, just walking up to the faces of YG and basically stealing that dragon away, while Young Glory had very little vision control around that side of the map. But just YG making the split-second decision. Yancer's Solar Flare actually hit Korn and UZI, so just a nice mega Inferno Bomb to land on both of the carries of Starhorn Royal Club. Just a really nice fight. Immediately, I mean, you didn't even need to see, and that was a nice shockwave as well, but even if you didn't see, this team fight at all, you could tell just by the way just by how strong some of these champions are in the early game, you could tell that YG should have won that fight, and they were able to clean up really well off of Yansir's Solar Flare. Nice job by
Insec. He's got some backup from Corn, though. Maybe he can stay alive for a second. Oh, maybe not. He is really low on health. Red is taking him down, and now it's going to be Corn having to burn his flash. Number 1 comes over the wall. Cola's in there, though. He gets blocked up for just a second, and they're trying to turn this one around. YG won't be able to find a kill just yet. Insect still around the side. Explosive Cast just came up, and they dive in onto Cola. Mega Inferno Bomb gonna land almost onto Insect. The Solar Flare also misses. He is dodging everything, and they spend a lot on the side of Young Glory. Come up empty-handed.
Really nice fancy feat coming out from Insect. I mean, I'm wondering, I actually think that when number 1 used his Explosive Cast, he had just come off of cooldown, but I'm questioning why the Gragas actually didn't decide to flash earlier and then use a body slam into Insect to get that to finish off that kill. But really nice job coming out from Insect. One of the big things about those skills is that they trigger and they show themselves before the effects can actually trigger, right? So Insect with really nice mechanics, really nice reaction time, coming out and able to salvage his life and the red buff, because he was actually able to steal the red from the members of Young Glory. So nice job. And UZI gets his own red as well. So, the small things, as long as Starhorn Road Club wins the small skirmishes, that they're going to be fine, and they're going to be able to get themselves to that 25, 30-minute, watershed point that I was talking about before.
Absolutely, and they're up a little bit of gold despite the fact that they're down in kills, down 1 tower, just because they've been able to outfarm and outmaneuver anyways. Slight advantages, little things, little feats of mechanical superiority. Insect manages to dance his way out of a whole lot of ultimates. This was just, honestly, very overzealous play by Young Glory, and they seem a little bit sloppy and engaging. Yeah, they have been able to take a few nice engages left and right. They managed to capitalize on the dragon positioning from Starhorn. However, they're still in a slight deficit. 0 now in Uzi, looking to push on this tower, take their first of the game. Answer might have something to say about it, but it's too bad he doesn't have anything, I guess. Insect coming up. They're trying to go onto this one. Not Solar Flare. That's a nice kick in from Insect. Oh, there's the Solar Flare. Insect getting bursted down. He has nothing to say on that one. And here comes Diangoon around the side.
Nice
and Uzi have to turn tail and run away from this one. Bouncing bombs, flying and hitting Uzi. And Answer, he's going to be able to kite away after taking Winter's Bite, but now all of a sudden Yinfu's in the area. They are running for their lives. Q's landing 0, doing everything he can. Cola's coming in for the teleport. Is he going to get there in time? Maybe they can turn this one around. Cola's there. They're turning on a Yinfu. There's no summoner spells available, and they jump on his Skarner. His health bar is dropping, but it's going to be Uzi taking the kill for that one. And once again, number 1 in the picture. Corn also came in here. Uzi doing the best he can to stay alive. The shockwave going to land, but it only ends up hitting Diangu. Down goes Corn. They're still kiting it away. Uzi in a terrible spot, and Cola can't help him, but he's going to try anyways. This is going disastrously for Starhorn Royal Club, and it's going to be another pair of kills. That was huge. 4 kills for none. All said and done. It's too bad there's no dragon available. Whoa, Insect coming around. He might find Yanser, and he does. Bit of revenge coming in from the jungler, Starhorn Royal Club, but a miraculous play by Young Glory.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually, I think, an unofficial ace, in fact, because Insect had just respawned and come back to get that revenge kill onto Yansir. Really beautiful played by Yansir. He knew that Diangoon was rotating towards the bottom side, and that he made a split-second decision to flash, burned all of his skills and his ignite onto Insect's Lee Sin, and they were able just to pop him with a combined Piercing Light and Mega Inferno Bomb combo. I mean, just a really nice turnaround. Additionally, Yinfu was able to travel all the way down, and despite there being a ward in that bottom side brush, there was nothing that the members of Starhorn Road Club could have done. Cola had to burn his teleport as well. Just a really nice unofficial ace coming out from YG. Really good job.
Yeah, and despite all of that, Starhorn still managing to hang on to the slightest, not a lead in this case. They're still down. They're down in gold now, but they did even up the towers. Even though they lost a whole lot of members there, they're staying relevant in the gold game. And here we have the Dragon Control being jostled for with 20 seconds to go until it respawns. A lot of pink wars being invested on the side of Young Glory. Not so much on Starhorn, but they do have a couple of regular wards in and around that bot side. A lot of vision.
Right,
the Dragon
and
Pit.
Additionally, number one still has his teleport, so he'll be able to port down whenever he wants to. I mean, this should be a relatively easy objective for Young Glory. That's coming out in 1 second. Well, 1 second for me. I assume it was ahead
we
for
are
you.
about the same timing, but it's Young Glory going to be trying to start this dragon up. Should be able to burst it down, although having a little bit of trouble. Insect might be able to get the steal around the side. Vision coming in. They're trying to block for this one. He answered. Nice job pulling out of the pit, but Zero might have something to say about this. It's low. It's going down. That's a dragon in favor of Yinfu and Young Glory, and they take it just about uncontested. Really just pot shots from the support.
Yeah. I mean, the members of SHRC is new, especially given how good Young Glory's ward control is. Well, you know, the members of SHRC didn't know how good Young Glory's ward control is, and they didn't want an uneven fight with the Grogs teleporting down potentially behind them. So Young Glory, I mean, really making some nice power moves right now, but this is what they need to do. This isn't anything special coming out from YG. The members of Young Glory know that if they want to win this game, they have to make their moves now. You know, the 15 to 25 minute mark is really where they need to get things done. So I expect all of YG, especially since the Dragons is gone, to start grouping in mid lane, to try to push out all of their lanes as quickly as possible, and even start obtaining control around the Baron Pit in order to try to bait something out, as we see a little pause here.
Yep, we got the pause screen, but while that's going on, we can take a little bit of a look at what's going on with the players individually. And so far, in all these team fights, it's actually been Goon mopping up the kills, so he's 5-0 on this game right now. It's not just Mega Inferno Bombs. He really has had incredible positioning. He's been instrumental in turning these fights around and staying safe the entire time, basically letting the rest of the team act as a gigantic meat shield with Shenlong trying to kite around and stay alive in the meanwhile. So a fantastic job by Young Glory to just try and take the better position fights and turn around what look like Starhorn advantages to begin with. And while the technical issues are being resolved on the side of Starhorn Royal Club, they have a little bit of downtime to maybe think about how they can take better engagements. Insec, for all of his flashy footwork, he has not been able to really secure much more than a couple of revenge kills. You saw him taking down Yancer when he had, you know, the 10th of a health bar remaining. But he hasn't really been huge in this early game, and on a champion like Lee Sin, especially one that he's known for making huge plays on, this is a bit troubling for the Starhorn side.
Yeah, and just, you know, during this pause, I decided to check on our friends at IEM. Obviously, one of our very own Ryan Frosker and Moore is casting at the IEM deck. Well, she's on Skype with Jason Kaplan right now at IEM, and the World Elite actually did pick up Nocturne, which is, you know, I was talking about before, counter picks to the Kog'Maw. Nocturne is one of them, and I think that, you know, once we see 4.11, 4.12 roll around, the interaction specifically between Ziggs, Kog'Maw, and Grog is going to be really interesting in the Chinese pick and ban phase. I mean, the Chinese draft phase is going to be, I think you know, those three picks are going to be really contested, and I'm really excited. I mentioned before, my bold statement was 4.11 will be the golden age for Chinese League of Legends. 4.12 even more so. So I'm really excited to see my predictions come true, because, you know, we all know that my predictions are pretty godlike, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. They might even be legendary, depending on how right you are in some of these ones. So I'm excited to see how 4.11 actually affects a lot of the play over here in China, as it has elsewhere in the world. And I'm also excited to see China get a little bit, you know, back to closer. It's always a bit of a problem when you see going towards Worlds. If they're behind a few patches, they're not going to be able to adapt quite as quickly. But going forward, they shouldn't have as much trouble as it has been maybe in the past. I'm pretty excited to see the performance at Worlds this year, actually, especially from the LPL teams. It seems like all the strategy has really gone up, and you can partially credit this to some of the Korean jungle styles that we've been seeing coming out, changing a few things about the way the Chinese warding actually works in particular. I think there's a pretty good article on Gamers about this. Written, of course, by Kelsey Moser, who we'll be hearing from later on in the program.
During the finger trap?
Yeah, the finger trap. We don't talk about it. Rule number one, we don't talk about the finger trap outside of the finger trap.
We don't talk about finger trap outside.
Oh, and we got another pause. There we go. 18 minutes, almost 19 minutes, and still more technical issues plaguing the LPL just for now. But yeah, going back to the analysis, this game right now,
right?
Goon is really, it looks like he's putting the team on his back. It's really more that he's just securing a lot of the kills. However, Ziggs has fantastic late game scaling anyway, so if he can snowball the gold advantage he has, and if they can shut down Uzi early on, Young Glory do have a very real shot at taking this game #1, and that will be a huge confidence booster for them going into #2. But Starhorn, yeah, they have the late game scaling comp. They have a really fantastic composition just in general for landing the wombo combos, but they've looked sloppy. They haven't been able to execute it. What do they need to do other than just holding out to make sure that they don't slip away from this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that Starhorn World Club is doing very well, actually, is warding the enemy jungle buffs. So, you can see, even though Insects almost died a few times, he's been really careful around the enemy jungle, scouting out where that Skarner is, because, of course, the Skarner pick is only effective if Yin Fu, who's playing the Skarner for the side of Young Glory, he's the jungler of Young Glory, of course, can get a flank on you, or can effectively catch up to your AD carry, right? So, honestly, as long as the members of Starhorn Royal Club are warding well, then they should be able to counteract a lot of the things that the members of Young Glory want to do. But again, warding has been a problem for Starhorn Royal Club. I actually think that SHRC has been a little bit more advanced in the vision control department, but they've fallen to Skarner jungle picks before, and I wouldn't be surprised if they fall again, especially since Young Glory seems to know what their power spike is, and they seem to be acting on it. So, rather than talking about what Starhorn Royal Club wants to do, I really think that Young Glory should be feeling the pressure right now, because the game is still relatively even at about 18 or 19 minutes in, right? And the window is quickly closing, right? So, 5 minutes, what used to be a 10-minute window will become 7 minutes, 7 minutes become 5, 5 becomes 3, and then you slowly start to lose confidence and ground against this, Kog'Maw powered UZI. So what YG has to do is really make sure that they contest every single thing on the map, the buffs, turrets, anything. And one way they can do that is by grabbing as many, red trinkets as they can and obtaining vision control around Baron. But with that being said, though, the only reason why that's a little bit difficult for the side of YG is because their team doesn't do Baron extremely quickly, because the DPS is not the highest. It's the burst that's really big for the side of YG. So, yeah, I mean, Young Glory has a lot of problems right now, but I think that if they play their composition correctly, they can still win fairly easily. And what that basically means is going up, hitting turrets, using the Ziggs to clear waves, using the Skarner as a frontline threat, using Grok as his pick potential, just making sure that they're always in the faces of Starhorn Royal Club and giving them no quarter, and hopefully sending the members of SHRC on tilt.
Mm-hmm. And they do have a couple of weapons in their pocket. You've seen, even though they don't take objectives the fastest, they have been able to shore up their defenses and make sure no one gets dove on. Diangoon has been deathless this game, and he's playing a very safe champion, so it should stay that way if they continue to take good engages. You also see Zhen Long. This is an AD carry that is not considered very strong. I keep hashing on this because he's up against Uzi, who's an incredibly hyped ADC with Zero in the bot lane, and they're doing just fine. He's down 30 CS, of course. However, he still managed to keep up in items thanks to some of the kills he's managed to secure, and he hasn't died too many times. He's playing very safely. He's playing very well and kiting it out, and they're just letting Diangoon do the carry job. This is sort of their style. This is not typical China, but this is something that seems to work for Young Glory, and we'll see if they can keep it up going forward into this game. So now that the pause is still in swing, we get to see the audience, the lovely audience, so that they get those fans to
lovely audience.
Yeah, to keep themselves cool. Apparently, I guess it is hot right now.
It is very. I mean, I can tell you from this on this corner of Asia, it is extremely hot right now. But I just want to touch on what you said about Zhen Long for a second. Obviously, he's not a top 10 AD carry in China. He might not. Nah, he probably is top 15, but a lot of fans could argue against that, especially some of the more rabid of our Chinese fans in the Western scene. Yeah. So, but no one has ever complained about Zhen Long on that Lucian pick, and people have rarely ever complained about Yanxia on that Leona pick. His decision making sometimes can put YG at awkward situations, but the mechanics are unquestionable, and for the most part, Young Glory acts very quickly on Yanxia's initiations. So, I mean, their bottom lane is in a is in a position to succeed right now because they've gotten their comfort picks. Zhenlong on other AD carries, we can discuss whether he's a good, whether he's LPL material or not. And as we get back into the game, hopefully we'll see, especially since Zhenlong does have that Lucian, that Obama, as we like to call him, and hopefully he'll do well.
Yeah, Yan Sir very particularly plays a very scary Leona. And it's been so effective against, well, I guess I'll talk about it in a minute, because here it comes. Explosive cast, disengaging from Cola, Zero, and Insect, all of a sudden out of nowhere into this top side, and number one getting chased away. Uzi
nice.
They want this
cast,
tower.
yeah.
They really want to take this one down. Not got the mini wave to do it just yet, but Uzi will shove with the rest of his team. This does free up the other lanes for just a moment. Zhenlong is uncontested in this bot side, and Starhorn have a ticking clock in which they can act on something here. Looks like it's going to be looking for a fight. And Sir around the side. They do manage to take down the turret, though, and Uzi will back away.
And they're going to get the bottom turret of response, too. So they don't get... They basically... Yeah, and they trade turret for turret. We mentioned before that Insect, his early game has been predicated on grabbing early red buffs. I think this is his third contested red buff this game. So, and it does look like Insect will... Yeah, Insect will be able to get that. So YG, kind of laying off the pressure right here. Even though YG has to push lanes at this point of the game, it didn't look like they were being very proactive about getting objectives around the map. I mean, when those 5 members of SHRC showed at the top lane,
nice jump back and kick back. Cola, he's going to be able to mop this one up. Gragas got nowhere to go, and Cola takes him down. The answer, Yinfu coming around the side trying to grab someone. He impales Cola, and now that is a low jack. So the solar flare is going to land. Insect realizes, I can't save you, buddy. Answer going to chase him away, and that's a 1-for-1 trade. Top laners both going down. However, the collapse was real from the side of Young Glory. This mid tower now under fire from Starhorn, and they might be able to take it down. Mega Inferno Bomb going to land and clear the wave, and they take it anyways.
Yeah, and I mean, SHRC doing a really good job right here. We actually saw the same situation in about 40 seconds ago. There were 2 members of Young Glory in the mid lane, but they decided not to push any sort of wave, and they just decided to, for some reason, kind of aimlessly meander around towards the top lane of the map. But when Korn and Zero saw that there were plays being made in the top lane and that the 2 teams were going to trade 1-for-1, they immediately head towards the mid lane and try to respond. And now, YG, knowing that they have to respond with their own pressure, looking to contest this blue buff.
Yeah, they're really going hard in this jungle, and now it looks like it's going to be number one getting jumped on, and he just accepts his fate. Uzi picks him up. Might have done a little bit more than that, but a real apathetic fat man, and now Young Glory realize they're overextending. Cola now going to jump onto Diangoon. Half his health bar vanishes just like that. Cola, though, getting turned around on Uzi and Zero coming around the side. It looks like Young Glory might have bitten off a little more than they can chew. That is going to be a nice pickup for Zhenlong onto Insect while that was all happening. Still chasing forward. The Leap Strike comes in, and Solar Flare barely misses. It looks like it's going to be Yancer coming around the side. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to burst down so many members of Starhorn Royal Club. Zhenlong still chasing onto Korn. They turn it around, though. Zero has no health bar, hardly, and he manages to almost get away, but a bouncing bomb picks him up. Diangoon staying alive. Korn now on the run for his life, and it was a huge trade in favor of Young Glory. They managed to pick themselves up a 2-for-4, or a 4-for-2, I should rather say. I think somebody else went down in there. I think it was Gragas at the beginning of that, so it was a 3-for-4, but still.
Yeah, it was a 3-for-4. And, I mean, that fight would have been much worse had number one participated in the team fight. I mean, the big thing right there is that the reason why, you could see the different strengths of these YG and SHRC team compositions. I mean, Young Glory originally looked like they were going to lose that fight, despite being a little bit ahead and despite hitting their power spike at the 20-minute mark in the game. And that's because Young Glory's team fighting is essentially predicated on how much burst they could do to the enemy back line. So you saw when the members of SHRC were chasing Young Glory down the top lane, it was then when, Yansir decided to turn around with a solar flare. Diangoon hit a huge Mega Inferno Bomb. So really, just when YG lands their crowd control, when they land their large AoE skill shots, when they land their damage, all their bursts together in unison, that's when they're the most fearsome.
Diangoon now 7-0-4 on the game. He's got himself a Death Captain and Athene's working towards, I can only imagine, a Zanya's Hourglass. He's saying, guys, get in my backpack, but he's going to need a pretty big one if he wants Gragas to fit in there. Number one not doing so hot this game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why hopefully Young Glory decides to stay around and siege this turret, because there's no reason for them not to.
Yeah, Zhenlong is a little bit scared to go into this one. The Dragon is available to contest, and I think that's what they're going to turn for right now.
Okay.
UZI not really in position to make that one happen just yet. Zero coming around the side. And number one doing his best to kite out. He's not really panned out extremely well in this Gragas this game. However, Diangun is doing more than enough to help the rest of the team. Zhenlong staying safe, and it looks like that will be a completely uncontested secure of that Dragon. Yinfu smiting it away. And they're looking pretty hot going into this one. Zhenlong has played particularly well this game, and UZI has looked not bad, but he doesn't stay alive long enough to really have a giant impact. And now Zero is going to find, with help of UZI, Zhenlong, and he's going to go down, or is he staying alive? One more second is all it takes, but they answer it right on back. UZI goes down to Yansur, and Insect falling once again. Zero now trying to run away, but Young Glory is turning up the gas. It looks like they turn it on. Well, they're pushing onto this turret, but it was Yinfu that actually face tanked a lot of damage there. Zero is pretty low as well, but very tanky front line on the side of Young Glory, and they're looking to aggress onto this turret. Can they chase it down? They do have a Gragas to try and zone them away from this tower, but Starhorn having none of that. Bouncing bombs are not going to connect onto anyone, and they actually have to give this one up. So nicely defended by Starhorn, but still a 2-for-1 trade. I think they'll be happy to give Zhenlong up if it means taking down Uzi and Insect.
Yeah, I mean, really the power of ward control right there. You know, I think Zhenlong had accepted his fate long before he actually, you know, his screen actually went black and he had died. And just since YG has such good ward control at this moment, and because they were in the enemy side of the jungle, they were able to spot out the rotation, the two-man rotation coming down from Starhorn Royal Club, and they were able to respond with a counter gank of their own. So really nice play coming out from Young Glory. Again, this is the time to press their advantages. They're hitting their power spike right at this moment. They can't wait any longer. So good heads-up play coming out from YG, knowing their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, and constantly seeking out fights around important objectives. Unfortunately, because their AD carry went down, they weren't able to siege down the second-tier bottom lane turret, the Tier 2 bottom lane turret. But I expect that with a slightly safer Zhenlong, hopefully, this time, YG will be able to take an objective or two off of the next big team fight.
And that was more than worth for them. And also, speaking of Zhenlong, you know, I think I might have unfairly treated him at the beginning of this game, because right now he's rocking 100% participation rate for kills. He has stayed very safe despite being collapsed on that last fight, and he has set up an amazing number of these nukes that are flying out of Diangun. This man has just been absolutely phenomenal at helping his team succeed. Both the carries have an incredibly high number of kills and assists, and even though, you know, there's really almost none other on the side of anyone else on Young Glory, with the exception of Yansur, who's mopped up a couple of them, they've done phenomenally well. Insect hasn't really panned out the same way that Yinfu has been able to secure these kills for his team, or rather get the assists up for his team. Uzi has not stayed alive very long, and you can just see that they've been able to burst him down in the 4 deaths that he's had. Also, Korn not doing so good. And here we go. The siege is going to commence. Unbreakable is still taking a lot of damage through it, but that is a very low tower, and Zhenlong has to be very careful not to get kited out by Insect, but they should be able to mop this one up. 1 or 2 more hits should do it. The double tap, he's not going for it. Oh, and they actually saved this tower, but Korn, half his health is gone. Diangun is just massive right now.
Yeah, and I mean, this is...
Here they go. Make Inferno Bomb. That's a big knockup.
Oh,
and they're going in all for it.
job.
Gragas, number 1's going to get the kill. Cola is kiting out as best he can around the side.
Goodness.
It looks like Diangun maybe not staying safe on this one. And the fight turns around in
Diangun's
favor of Starhorn Royal Club. They give up 2, but they manage to secure 3 so far. Still on the chase. Insect in his own base right now. Diangun chases Cola away, and so does number 1. But maybe not. Zero and him are coming right back in. It looks like the barrel roll is going to come and dish a bit of damage out. Cola is going to be dueling it out with his top lane counterpart, and they still stay safe. Leaf Stripe's coming in. Diangun is so low, but Cola is as well. Can he kite this damage out? I don't know about that. There was Insect coming in. Summoner heal popped, and down goes Diangun for the first time today. And it looks like it's going to be number 1 getting bursted, but he does take Cola down with him. And that was a nice play by Starhorn Royal Club, but they are still falling behind in this game, and Zero goes down. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Number 1 staying alive. Insect finally gets the kill. What a play by that Gragas, who up until this point...
That was a flash forward, too.
He had like 0 kills, and he just went to 4.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So, Starhorn Royal Club essentially went even in that fight because Young Glory was able to get the turret, first of all, but Starhorn Royal Club went even in that fight off of a YG initiation. So you could tell, I mean, you could immediately tell the explosive cast was just okay. I don't think that the Mega Inferno Bomb was that effective. And additionally, number one, his top lane Gragas is doing very little damage right now. I mean, he has a Void Staff, a Frozen Fist, and the... I don't even know what that's called. Seraph's Embrace?
No, the
I'm so dumb.
Spirit Visage,
oh
you mean?
my god,
No,
Spirit
don't worry about
Visage.
it. Everybody has those
bad.
moments, Soldra.
I've been very sick for the past 2 days. I'll let you know.
I'm sorry, man. Hope
So,
you feel better
oh my
soon.
goodness.
You're right. This is the weakness of this particular Gragas build, is that it has way less damage than your old bursty Gragas that isn't viable anymore thanks to the changes to his kit. But still, it has proven reasonably meaty.
He should have gone Rod of Ages. I mean,
I agree.
the
Void Snap was kind of a weird pickup.
Right. There's really no other way to say it. I mean. He
got 4
does very
kills.
little damage right now. Yeah, and additionally, I actually think that number one was doing fairly well in lane, so even a Lich Bane wouldn't have been a bad choice here, but
no, not terrible.
Really just...
I would have favored the Rod, and at this point it's not really a viable option. It's 30 minutes of the game.
The Spirit Visage is not doing well. On the other hand, though, YG not taking huge measures to sweep out this side of the Baron Pit, I mean... There are Starhorn Royal Club. Yeah, I mean, there are Starhorn Royal Club boards everywhere.
I wouldn't think it's 30 minutes in because there is not as many sweepers as I might have expected to see. This is almost kind of, more of a throwback to the lack of vision China play. There are a few wards littering around the blue side jungle of Starhorn Royal Club. However, the Baron Pit is woefully unattended to. Pinging out right now. Starhorn says, hey guys, they might be doing that. But no, they're at their blue buff, actually. And number one, going to be trying to zone away any attempts that Cola might have. Starhorn realizing they might have a split second of pinging for the Baron. Everybody but Cola is there. He has teleport available. This Baron is being swept out, but they're afraid to engage on it because the members of Young Glory are coming here. Here's the bush camp now. Yancer, if he wanders too close, they might take him down. He's split off from the team now, and they're going for this chase. He gets the pink ward down. Yancer realizes this might have been a mistake. Insect coming around the side, gets the kickback, and this might be all she wrote for Yancer, although he's making a valiant effort to try and put some damage onto Uzi before anything can happen. That is one kill over to Starhorn Royal Club. It's going to be a 5v4 if they want more. Uzi, and actually the red buff is picked up by Shenlong. Nice steal back away.
Nice steal, Shenlong.
That was a good play right there. And Uzi is just afraid to try and go on this one. Uh-oh, Diangoon getting caught up by Insect now. His health bar's starting to fall, but so is Insect, and they're looking for the chase on. It's going to be Yinfu who gets Winter's bit.
Winter's bitten.
Frostbitten. He just frostbitten. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. Zero, unbreakable, trying to mitigate a little bit of the damage from Shenlong, but once Lucian gets rolling, it's pretty hard to stop all of that. As you can see, his health bar did take a bit of a hit.
So, I mean, to recap that whole fight, I mean, first of all, really nice piercing light coming out from, sorry, I forgot his name. It's Zhenlong, sorry. So really nice piercing light coming out from Zhenlong to actually get that red buff. He actually...
Cola.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was nice and pale, by the way, by Yinfu, as Cola will manage to get a ward and a leap strike. Can he get away from this, though? That's a lot of damage. There's the slowdown from Gragas, and he hits him with his empowered auto attack. But the Baron is being
Yinfu didn't even need to burn his flash either, which is a really key summoner spell.
Teleporting. This is going to be big. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to land. Yancer is all alone with the rest of Starhorn Royal Club. He gets bursted down, and a miscommunication from Young Glory results in a death or two. Uzi picking himself up a double on this one. Young Glory looking to try and capitalize. The ball's going to land. Korn is staying safe. What a brilliant play by Young Glory, by Starhorn, and what a bungled play by Young Glory. They're looking for the chase. They can't find it. They do get them off the Baron. The flash forward. Diangoon cannot find a kill. Zero trying to retreat. Maybe he can now. Those health bars are low, and Zero goes down. It's going to be a kill over to Shenlong, the Dragon. Korn, Uzi, the lowest of health bars, and Young Glory is shoving on forward. They managed to find one revenge kill for the two that they suffered earlier on in that one. Young Glory still looking strong, but that was sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, really, Yancer and number one should really have been communicating much better during that. And were they able to get the blue buff?
No, I think it actually got... Well, wait, did Diangoon have that? Yeah, I think it got picked up by Insect on a Sonic Wave.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He didn't get it.
Okay, he didn't get it. All right, so really...
Speaking of Insect, Maybe he's going to get that blue buff after all. Megan Fernobom already up. The CDR is ridiculous, but Diangoon in a bad spot. He has got no flash, and he's going down.
Yeah. Really sloppy plays from the entire, both sides. You know, Starhorn Royal Club and Royal.
I can feel your face bombing from here.
Yeah. Okay, so here's why Young Glory feels really awkward, okay? And here's why this game seems like it's going for a really long time. Yan Seer has not been in the correct position to be making large plays. He hasn't been positioning correctly, frankly. And they're running a composition that's entirely reliant on Yan Seer to throw out the solar flare. So,
that was a nice knockup. It doesn't land on too many members, and they give up on the Baron. There is going to be not Diangoon. That's Yinfu going down, and number one to follow up. They can turn back on this Baron. Yeah, this is the scaling. This is the scaling factor that they have going for them. Cola is really low, but they can still burst this Baron down very quickly. They've got vision everywhere. Yancer can only place down so many wards at once. They still want to interrupt this, but they have no way to do it. That Baron is going to fall. First one of the game, almost 35 minutes, and UZI chasing Yancer, and Zhenlong has health bar, is going down, but the shield comes in, command protect. He's going to flash forward. That's a lot of damage being dealt, and they turn it around with the Mega Inferno Bomb. Nicely placed by Diangoon, just coming right on back up, and they take down Uzi, forcing Cola away and the rest of Starhorn Royal Club as well. You're right, this game has just been so sloppily played by both teams right now.
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, I think you were right when you called out in the team fight, and we're at 21 kills to 22. And Insect's about to claim another, I think.
Oh, I don't know, Diangoon's chasing him. Zero's already backed away. I think they gotta be happy to just get out and take four, and just take four with the Baron buff at this point.
So here was the problem. You know, obviously, it seemed such a short time ago that we were, 25, 26 minutes into the game, and Young Glory was about 4,000 gold ahead. The problem was that Yansier was, you know, yes, he was warding, but he wasn't in the proper positions to make plays around the map, and because of that, Young Glory had no sources of engage. I mean, you already see Yinfu on his Skarner. He took, what are those boots? Are those Captain? But all I know is that what they do
Distortion, I think.
Distortion, and they decrease the cooldowns of your summoner spells, right? So basically, Yinfu's saying, you know, if Yanseer's not up, all we have to engage is basically the Impale, the Skarner ult.
And that's single target, too. And there are so many threats on Starhorn right now.
So YG, really, they should have been sieging a lot earlier, but they didn't take this opportunity to try to assault the base of Starhorn Royal Club, and now they've given up Baron off of poor vision control, which has plagued, which is a problem that has plagued YG since their inception, since their maiden voyage in the LPL. I'm not even talking about this split. I'm talking about like 2 splits ago.
Oh yeah,
so
ways away.
Yeah, a long time ago. So really, just really poorly played. I mean, it's an issue with their team composition, but really, I mean, just the mentality. They should have been attacking much earlier, but I think that they were just really scared because, first of all, Cola was split pushing incredibly well around the map. Second, Uzi and Korn were clearing waves faster than YG could push down turrets. And third, we might see another fight right here.
I think it might happen. Solarflare going to land on a Korn. Nobody else, though. Cola gets in the picture, and not sure if he wants to take that fight. Zero going to ult onto the members of Young Glory. And that is the disengage. They don't want it, this is troubling. They have the later game scaling on their side. They have 4 members with Baron buff, and they still don't want to take a fight just because it happens to be under a tower right now. Starhorn is looking a little scared. They haven't been able to adequately protect Uzi most of this game, and I think they're worried about losing him again and how that might turn around. Yancer is very scary on this Leona, although he has been less effective the later this game is going on. I think they're going to let Cola do the split push strategy for a while, though, despite being almost, they're not ahead in gold, but they're pretty close to it. Gold lead not as much as it once was. Cola is just continuing the split push up.
Yeah, there are some problems right here. So what can YG do to get themselves back into this game? They can.
I think they have. We'll have to start by contesting this dragon, but there's really no way they can do it right now.
They can't contest dragon. They can get 2 picks. First of all, number 1 can sell his Spirit Visage and buy a vastly superior item. Second of all, I don't even know. This is how bad Young Glory's situation is right now. Just because the members of Starhorn Road Club are so powerful, and all of the members of SHRC. I mean, these aren't new champions for them. The Kog'Maw isn't a new champion for UZI.
Oh, the
Oriana
chase.
and Jax. Oh,
That's
the
Yinfu. He goes hunting and he finds Korn. Yansur now around the side. Zero and Yinfu are trying to chase onto Zero. His health bar is going down.
Okay,
He ults
nice
away, but he doesn't get it at the end of the day. Zhen Long picks the kill up, and they're staying alive. The Living Artillery coming out. Can they chase away Uzi? Zero and Korn are both down, but Starhorn is still wanting to take fights. Yansur, a blinking health bar. So is Yinfu, but they are getting the chase on, and they sent #1 back to contest Cola on the split push. This is what Young Glory needed to do. They're getting the chase away. They're pushing turrets right now. They haven't lost anyone just yet. Cola is dueling it out with his Gragas, and they're still chasing forward. Yansur almost stays alive through that one, and Cathian Surprise should be able to find Yinfu. It actually isn't. They're going for the inhibitors now, and it's going to fall really quickly. Nicely played by Young Glory. Zhen Long coming up with the big plays, and in the meanwhile, #1 chases Cola away from the bot side, so they trade well.
Yeah, so UZI was actually out of mana during that fight. He could have turned around with the Living Artillery, but then just because he was out of mana, he couldn't chase an extremely low Yinfu and Yansir, and then he does eventually die under his own inhibitor turret. So YG with a really nice play to get that inhibitor turret. I don't think their window is closed yet, actually, especially with Baron coming up. I don't think YG should be looking towards this Baron at all because they have a history of throwing at Baron, right? They should just go towards this inhibitor turret, really challenge the members of SHRC to defend that inhibitor, and eventually take it because that's their best chance right now. They need to get the minion waves rolling on their side of the map in order to, put pressure on other places and eventually win the game because YG in a straight-up team fight, it's looking very difficult right now. Yinfu had to burn everything. He flashed in with the cooldown from his distortion, got a really nice impale on Korn before Korn was able to blow any summoner spells or even his ultimate, hit the command shockwave ultimate.
Look at that jump up. Insect followed him all the way in the air. Dangoon, he could go down here. Mega Inferno Bomb going to launch on everyone from Starhorn Royal Club, but it doesn't even matter. They take him down, and they take down #1 with him. Starhorn Royal Club finding a nice pick out in the jungle. This game just keeps turning on its head every few minutes.
Sloppy.
It's huge. 45 seconds till the Baron comes up. That's more time on the death timers for #1 and Dangoon. Starhorn looks to take an advantage here. They're down an inhibitor, but they need to find an answer. This game is so close at 41 minutes.
Really, really sloppy. I mean, this is pretty bad.
Dangoon looks so good earlier. All of his deaths have been catch-outs. I'm so bummed about that now, but they are marching on forward. Starhorn should be able to secure up this inhibitor, no problem. Insect face-tanking a lot of the frontline damage, and Uzi will get it at the end of the day. If they look for the counter-engage, they might find it. Everyone's a little bit low on the side of Starhorn, but they should be able to get away. Super minions are now crashing into the base through the top side. One thing they gave up is that is completely undefended right now. They're looking for the counter engage. Insect's going to go down. Cola jumping onto Yinfu. They don't want to let this back happen. Young Glory realizes they have a window. It looks like there's a big ball going down. Yansur is being chased out. They've already got Zhen Long's Guardian Angel, and I don't think he's getting away. There he goes. Uzi picks him up, but the super minions are still crashing through. The Nexus is falling. Uzi is trying to back. Mega Inferno Bomb stopping him. Uzi goes down. Dangoon picks it up. Zero getting chased out. This is huge right now. The minions are completely uncontested. Korn just gets back to base. Zero and Cola trying to run away. I don't believe this is happening, and they're still on the chase. Zero, he's going to find #1. Oh my goodness, is he going to go down? Dangoon's there, but it doesn't matter. #1 falls. Young Glory continues to trade back and forth. Baron is up. They're pinging for it. No way to take it. There are towers just down everywhere here. And Korn cleans this up. Jesus, this game.
Oh my goodness.
There is a completely exposed Nexus right now.
They try to hashtag stop the ports right there. I mean, this was... Holy shit.
That was so close, and Starhorn managed to save it from the minions. they're in a position to try and contest this Baron because there's still a 30-second death timer on number 1.
Starhorn should be going for this Baron, and this should be a completely free Baron right here, unless
Dan
I
Goon
mean,
might have
you know,
something to say about that.
Yinfu has his captain boots on. Okay, I mean, this guy can flash in and try to steal the Baron if he wants
Dan Goon's
to.
got his carry boots on. Let's see if he can make something happen. Yancer now in the area. If he can get a big solar flare on him, they can go for this engagement. They don't have number 1. Starhorn's got everybody. Uzi, though, he's not in the picture right now, and they want to take this fight. Baron getting dangerously low. Zero is going there. It looks like they're going to go for it, and it looks like it's a nice steal. I can't believe it. Yinfu picks that one up. The ball's only going to land onto Jiangun, excuse me, onto Zhenlong, and now they're chasing Diangun now. They get the Baron, but they're staying alive for just a moment. Yancer trying for the collapse, but it's Diangun going down. Yancer now going to fall. Starhorn completely manhandling this side of Young Glory. Number 1 just comes up and has to run away. Yinfu backing away, and they're looking forward for this Nexus. Starhorn Road Club might have just won this game at 44 minutes in. Can number 1 and Yinfu hold? I don't know, Soldra.
What a poor play from Zhenlong. Really, what a poor play. I mean, this guy, I think he uses Relentless Pursuit to go inside the Baron Pit, or Flash in, I have no idea, but what a really just uneducated
That's going to be it. That was the ace. Cole picks it up,
game.
and Starhorn, on the backs of their superior scaling, managed to muscle this one to victory despite giving up that secondary Baron. Starhorn not looking too happy about that victory. It was quite hard fought.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that was something else.
It looks like YG couldn't #stop the ports.
Yeah,
I mean,
could not do
so
that.
the problem with that game, right, was that, you know, besides the fact that Starhorn Road Club had a vastly superior team composition past the 35-minute mark, you know, Young Glory had a lot of opportunities to come back, and they were making a lot of picks through Baron control. I mean, when you have a Leona, especially you have Yancier's Leona, I mean, Yancier's Leona is really dangerous, up there with the likes of Conan, up there with the likes of PYL, right? So this guy can obviously make plays. You have a support that knows how to make picks in, you know, both the enemy and your own side of the jungle. So what they should have been doing is they should have been, you know, using the ward control. You mentioned earlier that the members of YG weren't buying a lot of red trinkets for some reason. They weren't buying any sweepers. They really should have tried to sweep out. They should have tried to sweep out the vision of the enemy team. Yeah, clean it up. Make sure that they're setting a few picks. You know, because once, you know, if the enemy team, if SHRC has been prone to picks, has been prone to catches, or face-checking unwarded brushes, right? Then you really have to take advantage of that. But just the members of Young Glory looked uncoordinated. You know, we saw multiple times when Yancier would go in, and members like number 1 were just really uncoordinated on their teleports, or, you know, use the explosive casket late, or just weren't involved in team fights. I mean, we saw Zhenlong making mechanical errors. Dian Goon was getting caught out, so.
Yeah,
just
that
a
was,
lot of mistakes across the board.
Both teams played very, very sloppy across the board. That is probably one of the more even yet very uncoordinated games that I've seen this entire summer split.
That was
game number 2.
Game.
I mean, it was exciting. It was definitely exciting. But I was mostly surprised at the poor positioning from Uzi in particular. He has played so much better than that in the past, and giving up, I think it was 8 or 9 kills by the end of the game. Yeah, they won, but man, that was at what cost? And game number 2, we'll see if the teams clean up their act just a little bit. But we will be taking a quick break, quick cool down, got to rest those vocal cords, and of course, the team's got to recover from what just transpired. I don't know about you guys, I might have PTSD after that one. But we'll be taking a quick cool-down break, guys, when we return game number 2 between Starhorn Royal Club and Young Glory. You're watching the LPL Summer, coverage in English, brought to you by Ghost of Gamers and Games in Asia.